Breaking news. Coach Sean Payton seemed very pleased with the direction the Denver Broncos are taking. The team has improved and promises to go after the Super Bowl this season. I personally believe with all my heart that this is possible. All we need to do is organize the team and train with dedication. If you also believe that the Broncos will be able to reach the Super Bowl, hit the like button hard. If possible, write something like this: Go Broncos, I believe. The Denver Broncos are once again in the spotlight as ESPN has released a full 7-round 2025 NFL mock draft, and with it, a lot of buzz about who could wear the orange and blue next season. So, let's analyze this mock draft pick by pick, giving you an inside look at what this could mean for the team, and more importantly, how fans should feel about it all. Starting with the number 20 pick in the first round, the Broncos are expected to select Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden. Now, before you roll your eyes or start dreaming about someone else, let's get into why this pick was made and why it has sparked some strong opinions. Burden is a former 5-star recruit and undeniably athletic, a player who made a name for himself with his ability to make defenders miss and rack up yards after the catch. 58% of his receiving yards over the past 2 seasons came post-reception, a number that jumps off the page. But here's the rub. 75% of his receptions came within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. This has led to some concerns that his playmaking ability is mostly limited to short routes, and that he hasn't shown enough diversity in his route tree to be a true WR1 at the next level. Add to that a significant drop in production from 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2023 to just 600 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2024, and you've got yourself a controversial first-round choice. A lot of this drop has been attributed to Missouri's offensive struggles and quarterback injuries, which is fair. But at pick 20, you expect someone who rises above those issues, not someone whose numbers get sliced in half. While Luther Burden is a human highlight reel when things go right, the question remains, can he consistently be that guy at the pro level? This isn't a pick that screams excitement or clear direction, and with other intriguing names still on the board, like Omarion Hampton or even defensive lineman Derek Harmon, it's hard not to wonder if Denver could have made a more impactful selection. Moving into round 2, ESPN's Matt Miller projects the Broncos to go with a running back, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. This is a power runner who transferred from Ole Miss, where he was the SEC Freshman of the Year and a 2-time All-SEC selection. At Ohio State, he continued to impress, leading the Buckeyes in rushing with 1,060 yards and 14 touchdowns. But let's be honest, this pick also comes with questions. In 5 of his 9 Big Ten games, Judkins averaged less than 4 yards per carry. Sure, he's not a burner, but a 4.48 40-yard dash shows he's got enough speed to break a play open. His game is more about power and vision, a north-south bruiser who could be the thunder to someone else's lightning. Here's the thing, though. This draft class is stacked with running back talent. Caleb Johnson and Hampton, again, might be better fits depending on how the board shakes out. But if you're looking for a bruising back who knows how to find the end zone, he scored 45 touchdowns in college. Judkins is a solid option in round 2. He's not a huge receiving threat, but that wasn't really emphasized in his college offenses, so maybe there's more there to develop. Now on to round 3, where the Broncos are mocked to select defensive lineman Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. Turner is talented. He's got the size, the athleticism, the versatility to move around the line, but let's not ignore the elephant in the room. The guy has had discipline issues. One incident in particular stands out, where he got ejected for a blatant cheap shot against a Mississippi lineman. This wasn't just a heat-of-the-moment type foul. This was the kind of penalty that makes coaches throw clipboards. If Denver can harness that fire and keep him focused, they could be getting a mid-round steal. But if not, Turner might not stick around in the league for long. It's a boom or bust pick, no question. In round 4, the Broncos go for stability with Jake Majors, a center out of Texas. A 4-year starter and a former top guard recruit, Majors brings experience and toughness to a position where the Broncos need competition.
With Lloyd Cushenberry gone in free agency and Luke Wattenberg looking like more of a stopgap than a long-term solution, adding Majors to the mix makes a lot of sense. He doesn't have elite arm length, but at this stage in the draft, you're looking for guys who can grow into roles, and Majors checks that box. Skipping round 5 since Denver doesn't have a pick there, we head to round 6, where things get interesting. First, they had tight end Joshua Simon from South Carolina. He played 6 years of college ball, 4 at Western Kentucky, 2 at South Carolina, and brings some upside as a pass-catching tight end. Not an elite blocker, but that's not what you're drafting him for. With Ingram on a short-term deal, Simon could develop into a real contributor in the passing game, something Denver sorely lacked from the tight end position last season. Also in round 6, the Broncos pick up a cornerback, Balin Connor from Western Michigan. Not a household name, but at 6 feet 1 inch with fluid movement and a long, winding college path from community college to Indiana State to Western Michigan, he's an intriguing developmental piece. It's a low-risk, high-upside pick typical of day 3 selections, and with the right coaching, Connor could surprise people. Finally, with their last pick in round 6, Denver takes edge rusher Jalen Joyner out of Minnesota. There's not a ton of tape or buzz around Joyner, but he did lead the team in sacks 2 seasons ago and brings some potential as a rotational pass rusher. In today's NFL, you can never have too many guys who can get after the quarterback, and Joyner adds to that depth. So there you have it, Broncos country. A mock draft full of ups and downs, questions, and potential. Luther Burden is the headline, Judkins brings power, Turner brings attitude, and the rest of the picks aim to fill out the roster with steady hands and long shots. But what do you think? Are you on board with Burden at pick 20? Do you like the idea of a power back in round 2? Or should Denver have gone a completely different route? Let me know in the comments, how would you grade this mock draft? Because when it comes down to it, this mock draft really captures a kind of tug-of-war between filling immediate needs versus swinging for long-term upside. And that's exactly what the Denver Broncos are facing as they try to navigate the post-Russell Wilson rebuild, develop under Sean Payton's vision, and redefine what this team is going to be over the next few years. Let's take a closer look at the ripple effect of each pick and how it reflects the front office's potential mindset heading into draft weekend. Starting again with Luther Burden, it's not just about what he is right now. It's about what he might become in a few years under the right system. The Broncos have lacked a true playmaker at receiver who can change games with one move. Cortland Sutton has flashes, Jerry Jeudy, well, we know how that story has played out. There's uncertainty across the board. Drafting Burden feels like a calculated gamble to get a dynamic weapon in this offense, someone who can immediately be a factor in YAC-heavy schemes. But it also leaves open the critique. Is he just a gadget guy at the NFL level, or can he actually be that consistent WR1 threat downfield? A valid concern given his limited usage in vertical routes and questions about the diversity in his route running. Then there's Judkins, the thunder to potentially a Javonte Williams or Jaleel McLaughlin's lightning. It makes sense in theory. And with the Broncos not committing big money to the RB position in free agency, this mock signals that they're willing to go running back early, but not first round early. A second round investment for a guy with proven red zone instincts, who can grind out tough yards, feels like the type of pick Payton would get behind. After all, remember how he used Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara back in New Orleans? This could be the next 1-2 punch, albeit with more physicality and less finesse. Now, Shamar Turner is where things get tricky. You could argue he's the most talented player in this Broncos mock draft, but also the riskiest. His size, explosiveness, and positional versatility make him incredibly intriguing for a Denver defensive front that needs a spark. But we've seen hotheads flame out before. So what's your take? Broncos country, is this a draft class you can get behind? Or are you left shaking your head, wondering what could have been? Drop your grades, tell us your favorite and least favorite picks, and let's get the conversation going. We've got a long offseason ahead, and this draft is going to be a big part of that story.